September 30th, 2025. The sound of air raid sirens rolled across Ukraine once again, sharp, distant, and cold. But this time it wasn't panic that filled the air. It was purpose. On a small airfield in central Ukraine, an old MiG-29 waited quietly under the dim morning sky. Its camouflage was faded, its fuselage scarred by decades of service. Inside, every dial and gauge told the story of another era, the Cold War. Yet next to those analog instruments, something new glowed softly. A tablet mounted to the cockpit, running freshly written Ukrainian code. That tablet was the difference between life and death. It guided navigation, helped jam radar locks, and coordinated American-made precision bombs attached under the MiG's wings. The old Soviet jet had become something else, a hybrid of past and present, a machine reborn for a modern war. Its mission that morning was almost suicidal: to fly deep behind enemy lines and strike a Russian drone production complex more than 350 kilometers away. The factory produced the Shahed-type suicide drones that had terrorized Ukrainian cities for months. To reach it, the pilot would have to pass through one of the densest air defense networks on Earth. Layers of S-300 and S-400 systems, short-range Tor batteries and thick walls of electronic jamming, yet he went anyway. The MiG roared down the runway and vanished into the grey horizon. For nearly 20 minutes it flew low, almost kissing the treetops, dodging radar beams and terrain alike. Then came the warning tones. The enemy had spotted him. 2 missiles launched from the east. The pilot pulled a brutal dive, pushing his jet to the limit, the G-forces crushing his body as the missiles overshot and detonated harmlessly in empty air. Moments later, the MiG climbed back into the clouds and released 4 precision bombs. Each one separated cleanly, gliding toward its target with unerring accuracy. Seconds later, the night sky lit up. The assembly hall exploded. The electronics wing collapsed. The storage hangars turned into fireballs that painted the sky orange. Within a single minute, the entire facility was reduced to burning rubble. Satellite images later confirmed what the pilot already knew. Every bomb had struck within meters of its mark. One old fighter, one pilot, and a few lines of improvised code had done what months of artillery could not. But success always has a cost. Within hours, Russia struck back. A Patriot missile site, hidden among fields, was hit by an Iskander ballistic missile. Its radar unit was obliterated, several vehicles destroyed, and operators wounded. Then came the second wave. A training base reduced to ruins, barracks flattened, ammunition depots set ablaze. Missiles came first, followed by suicide drones to finish what the explosions began. By the next morning, Ukraine had lost valuable systems, but gained something equally powerful: proof that innovation could still break through raw firepower. One side was adapting faster than anyone expected, while the other was unleashing everything it had to crush that adaptation. It was no longer just a war of weapons. It was a war of minds. A contest between invention and destruction, between the courage to improvise and the power to retaliate. And as smoke rose from both sides of the front, when truth remained unchanged. In modern war, technology may define the tools, but human resolve defines the outcome. June 22nd, 2025. A quiet dawn settled over the occupied railway lines in southern Ukraine. The sun hadn't yet risen when a fuel train began its slow journey east. 12 tanker cars, carrying over 800 tons of diesel, enough to keep armored divisions moving for days. To anyone watching, it was routine. But miles away, a small group of operators sat in silence, eyes fixed on their screens. For 4 days they had been tracking this train. Local informants, satellite feeds, and encrypted channels had given them everything: timing, coordinates, even the slope of the tracks. Now, with batteries charged and frequencies masked, their modified drones lifted silently into the air. They weren't military drones, at least not officially. They began life as commercial hobby models, but had been rebuilt piece by piece. New antennas, extended batteries, infrared cameras, and under each frame, a shaped charge warhead, the kind designed to pierce steel like paper. The control systems hopped radio frequencies over 1,000 times per second to evade Russian jammers. But the real breakthrough wasn't digital. It was optical. One of the drones was tethered by an ultra-thin fiber optic line, invisible to radar, immune to electronic interference, and capable of sending real-time video back to the operator more than 30 kilometers away. The Russians couldn't detect it, couldn't jam it, and had no idea it was coming. At 3:48 a.m., the first drone dove straight into the fourth tanker car. The explosion tore it open, igniting the diesel inside and triggering a chain reaction down the line. Fire raced from car to car. The night erupted in a wall of flame so bright it was visible from towns kilometers away. Another drone hit the 8th car, then the 11th. The twin blasts amplified each other, sending pressure waves through the steel rails and bending them like soft wire. The train was finished, twisted metal and molten wreckage scattered across the landscape. By dawn, the smoke had thinned, revealing nothing but blackened shells and scorched earth. The cost of the strike was astonishingly low, just a handful of modified drones worth less than $30,000. The damage, however, was measured in millions. Fuel supplies destroyed, rail lines crippled, logistics delayed for weeks. But more than the destruction, the attack carried a deeper message. It proved that the tools of modern warfare were no longer confined to military factories or billion-dollar budgets. They could be built in basements, coded on laptops, and flown by men with imagination and courage. Technology had shifted the balance of power. The war was no longer about who had the biggest army, but who could think faster, adapt faster, and turn the smallest spark into a weapon of steel. Would you like me to now make voice pacing lines for both, i.e., sentence-by-sentence pauses for narrator rhythm? It helps make the voiceover cinematic and natural, perfect for YouTube delivery.